What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 412. And I know everybody's mad at me. Where have you been, Quake? You missed last week's episode. You're late on this week's episode. What is going on with you? And this is why I removed the podcast from 2 episodes a week to 1 episode a week, because I knew it would be tough for me to do 2 episodes a week with what's going on behind the scenes. And this is the problem, I can't really say what I'm doing behind the scenes, but there's so much happening where Diverse Mentality is expanding as a company. I'm starting to hire more employees this week. I mean, not this week, but potentially this month. I'm going to have another full-time employee, and then potentially in the next month or two, another full-time employee. There's just a lot that I'm having to adjust to and change and do this and do that and try this out and try this out. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains when it comes to with everything that I'm doing. Because right now my focus hasn't really been me as a content creator. It's been Diverse Mentality as a company growing, which has been hurting me as a content creator because I'm supposed to have documentaries out. You know, I'm supposed to have podcast episodes come out every single week with having no issues. But it's part of the growing pains, and I'm figuring out how to balance things out. But yeah, that's kind of the story without me getting into full detail what's going on. Maybe in the future, hopefully, we'll be able to publicly say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. But just know that it's all for the greater good. It's to expand things, to make things a lot better, a lot more quicker, to say the least, a lot more productive, stuff like that, you know. So, yeah, last week I had a scheduled plan with something. It didn't go the way it was supposed to. Last minute things got changed, and this was going to have me traveling for like 2 to 3 weeks on something very important. And well, not 2 to 3 weeks, about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. And, you know, I was planning, okay, this episode I'm going to record, and then these next 2 weeks or the next 2 episodes I'm going to miss out because of this, and this. Well, yeah, I just ended up getting flipped upside its head because of things that we couldn't control outside of our things that we could, control. So that ended up happening, and then news-wise, there really wasn't much as well. And I was like, you know what? Let me listen to this T.I. album. I want to, digest it and really give you guys a nice review and talk about the sales of it and all this stuff that's going on. So, yeah, on this episode, I'm going to make it jam-packed with at least T.I.'s album review with Kill the King. Give my thoughts on that. Talk about his first week sales, because I know that's a point of discussion for a lot of people. Just everything else that's been going on in the news. First, what I want to jump into, and I just want to briefly talk about this because I really don't care to cover it, because I think it's just stands fighting amongst each other. And this is the Charlamagne and Akademiks thing that's going on. If you haven't been aware, basically, Akademiks is calling out Charlamagne, and a lot of people on Akademiks' side, aka Drake's side, calling out Jay-Z influence, Rock Nation influence content creators, and Charlamagne falls under that umbrella. And I don't know the full gist of it, of how exactly it started, but basically it's being quote unquote exposed or being looked into that Charlamagne is being financed by Rock Nation to a certain extent and to push narratives for Jay-Z, which is no surprise to me. I mean, I don't know why people are surprised that I've said this from decades, like literally. I mean, you guys, I wasn't creating content around this time, but I knew around 2009, 2010 that Jay-Z was the media's sweetheart, where he was the media darling, where if anything negative was being reported, outlets would shift attention to something more positive, always. I would see it in front of my eyes all the time. It's clear as day that Jay-Z behind the scenes controls a lot more media narratives. And why did I say this? Well, I mean, I always go to this reference because you can go on YouTube and actually find this. When Jay-Z went to Hot 97 to do an interview, they rolled out a red carpet for him. Literally rolled out a red carpet for him. I mean, so many artists have done interviews at Hot 97, from Eminem to 50 to Kanye to whoever at that time. They never rolled out a red carpet for the artist. But for Jay-Z, they did. If that's not a clear as day bias, clear as day, hey, we like this guy, we favorite this guy. At that moment, I knew at 2009, I was 14 years old, that, hey, clearly there's a bias towards Jay-Z in the major media. And the problem is with major media is they don't admit it. They won't say it, because clearly if they say it, then it hurts the ratings. It hurts people's perspective when they say on, like for me, for example, me saying I'm a 50 Cent fan, it's clear as day, that when I report on 50, you can at least look at it from a perspective of he might be biased because he's a fan of 50. Even though I feel I'm very fair when it comes to 50, I feel like, hey, there's certain points, and we'll talk about T.I.'s album sales down the line. Well, you'll hear me say, hey, this is the situation where if 50 dropped an album, you probably do the same amount of numbers, or maybe a little bit more. But regardless, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm just saying in general, like in today's media, at least with us content creators, we're a little bit more open, at least I am, about who's my favorite, what side I'm mainly on when it comes to stuff. But I'm pretty fair, I feel like, regardless of that. But the old media, Ebro, Charlamagne, I don't know, whoever in the old media, Angie Martinez, I don't know who the fuck else in the old media, but basically old media, or Angie, huge fan of Jay-Z. I mean, she loses her mind when Jay-Z does an interview. Oh my God, Jay-Z, you're the greatest hope. Like you can tell she glows up when Jay-Z comes around her and does an interview. Same with Hot 97, Paul Rosenberg, Ebro, they go crazy, roll out the red carpet with Jay-Z. Same with Charlamagne. I mean, the guy literally can't, be happier when Jay-Z's around. So with all this stuff happening, I already knew that there was Jay-Z, Rock Nation narratives and media outlets pushed. So Akademiks and all these other platforms exposing it, no surprise there. But here's where I stand at in this whole situation. And it's very simple. This is like as clear as day. It doesn't matter which side you're on. Both of these artists, from Drake to Jay-Z, are pushing gambling onto the youth. And gambling right now, statistically, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it was like 70 to 80% of the youth, meaning people in their 20s, are blowing whatever reserves of money that they have on gambling. And it's causing them to be poorer and poorer and poorer and broker and broker. Because they're clinging on to the hope that if they gamble, that they'll have one moment where they hit this huge jackpot of they gamble $1,000 and they make $1 million, whatever it is. Now, has that happened to a certain extent? Yes, there's an anomaly of that happening every now and then. But in general, 90% to 95% of people lose their money betting, gambling, whatever you want to call it. So for Drake, who has the youth's attention to be pushing Stake, a gambling website, which even their exposed Polymarket for having fake ads of people of influencers pretending that they're winning money on Polymarket. They exposed that just recently, about a week and a half ago. For Drake to be pushing Stake and using fake money to pretend like he's winning money and to pretend like it's an easy thing to win money, that's bad. That's degenerate. That's garbage. That's trash. I don't fuck with that. But here's the thing. Jay-Z's doing the same thing, or at least he tried to with the casino in New York. He got denied that. Charlamagne was going up there to advocate for it, which is crazy. But both artists are pushing degenerate gambling onto their audience. They're already billionaires. They don't give a fuck. They could care less. And that's the sad part. It has nothing to do with anything else. I don't give a fuck. I think this all stemmed from Drake versus Kendrick. It's gone downhill with media outlets since then, with content creators, media outlets, period. Like there's clear sides now in between where you're on Drake's side or you're on Jay-Z and Kendrick's side. I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of Kendrick. Jay-Z, not so much. So I guess you can kind of say I'm more on Drake's side a little bit. But in general, I don't really give a fuck. They're both pushing gambling. They're both pushing degenerate shit that doesn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form. And to be pointing fingers at each other like, oh, look, you're saying this for Stake, you're saying this for Jay-Z's casino, is corny. They're both trash in doing that. And that's the sad part is media outlets won't admit that on either side. So I guess I'm the only one in the hip-hop hemisphere that's actually going to say something about it. Now, I don't know the behind the scenes, who's pushing what, who's getting paid for what. Me, I haven't been paid by a single artist ever in my life to push any type of narrative. What I say is from my mouth, my thoughts, and that's what I feel. I've never been paid for 50 Cent, ever, not a single penny to push any type of narrative, anything. I can say that unequivocally. I don't know if somebody want to go through all my books. I've never gotten paid, period, from 50 ever to ever say anything. And I never will. I will never accept that because then I have to change my thoughts. Then I have to, in my head, be like, okay, I can't say this. I can't say. No, I want to say what I want to be able to say regardless. Yeah, I say all that to say I don't know the inside details. I haven't really been keeping up with it because I don't really give a fuck because it's trash. I think it's stupid on both ends. Oh, you're pushing this Rock Nation narrative. Oh, you're pushing this Drake. Like it's just it's overall it's just stupid. Both artists, Drake pushing steak on people is trash, is garbage. There's no Drake fan stand that can defend that. Period. You're pushing gambling. Doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck what the artist's getting paid. Any artist pushing gambling on their fans is trash to me. Even alcohol to a certain extent, but we've accepted it in hip hop culture, whatever. People drink. I'm not a fan of that either, but the gambling shit is just ridiculous. Alcohol is a whole different thing. It's not like you're gambling if how much alcohol you can get. You're buying a product, you're receiving it. That's it. Gambling is you're putting money into something, hoping on this wild dream that you're going to become a multimillionaire off of it, or even get 100,000 or 500,000. And you're pushing fake wins on there as well, which Drake has done. Casino, same shit, just an older version of it, being in person, going into the actual place and gambling your life away. So Jay-Z's a piece of shit for it too. There is no, balance in these two. But regardless, out of all this, that's my take on it. I just want to say, if any content creator, any artist, celebrity, anybody is pushing gambling onto you, do not support them, period. That goes for me. That goes for Akademiks. That goes for Charlamagne. That goes for this guy. That goes for that guy. This goes everywhere, everywhere. If they are pushing gambling onto you, do not support it. And don't gamble. Don't. Just don't. Avoid it as much as possible. Don't get tricked online by stupid things where one person puts $100 and wins $3,000. That doesn't happen. That just doesn't. Statistically, it is very, 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 very low. And some people just think they're above that statistic, that they're the ones that are the 2-3% that it happens to. And yes, there's a chance, obviously. I'm not saying that nobody's ever won money gambling. I'm not saying that. But it's such a low chance that you have a better outcome just taking your money and investing into yourself to build something or do something else. Like, yeah, it's a slower process, but at least you're doing it to grow something that could potentially lead to something where consistent income is coming in versus gambling, where you're lucky if you hit something. And even if you hit that, let's just say you hit $100,000, you're going to blow through that money like it's nothing. Or you're going to probably put another 10, 20, 30, 40,000 into gambling again and lose that. That's the problem with gambling. It's there's no full satisfaction out of it. If you won 10 million right now from gambling, you would think you could win 100 million from it because you won 10 million. And that's the problem with it. And that's just a problem in general with humans, is they want more and more and more, and they're not satisfied with whatever they want. And they know that. These gambling companies know that. They get you hooked onto this shit. You blow all this money, and you think, oh, wow, I put $20 in, I won $50. Man, I can do that again. If I just keep doing this, I'll eventually get out of this hole and make more and more money. No, that just doesn't happen. To 99% of people, it does not happen. Don't think you're that 1%. Please. So yeah, I'm going against all the gambling shit. If I ever get sponsored by gambling stuff, I sold out. And I'll straight up admit it. If I get a gambling sponsorship, which I will never accept, I won't say never. I just won't consider for the most part, because they do offer insane amounts of money, but I won't push. I just never align with it. I think I did one sponsorship deal where it had something with like tokens and stuff. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. In general, I just don't see myself ever pushing that type of content. Yeah, just gambling in general, man, just stay away from it. And Jay-Z and Drake, they're both pushing it onto their fan base. They could care less whether you guys win or lose money. At the end of the day, these guys are people who, do they have great images to push certain extents for their fans? Like they'll make, oh, I'll sign this. Oh, let's do a Janus party where they win all these money. Like, yeah, but think about how much people have went to stake and gambled their money because Drake endorsed it. Think about how many people probably went to casinos because they saw Jay-Z wanted to open one. I don't know. So there's a lot of shit. Right now, Jay-Z hasn't officially, at least from what I know, hasn't officially had anything with gambling because the casino didn't go through. But if it did, yeah, there you go. He's trying to push gambling on people. But yeah, that's my take on it. I just wanted to talk about it because I know people would have asked me. They're asking me about it. What do you think? This and that. I already knew that Jay-Z has people in the media. Like, think about it. Every time something negative comes out about Jay-Z, there's always something positive posted. When Jay-Z was in the Epstein files and that was getting flooded around media, I saw media outlets from Complex to Hot New Hip Hop to whoever, whatever big media outlet that's out there online, starting to push lists of, oh, Jay-Z's the best rapper ever. Oh, this is Jay-Z's best top 10 songs. Oh, Jay-Z lyrically destroyed this. Like, all of a sudden, you're seeing all this stuff about Jay-Z. And even his own team is doing it now with the whole concerts and having his Reasonable Doubt all over train stations and trying to create this whole, like, narrative and image that he's this big artist and, like, he's bigger than everybody and that he's, you know, above all that Epstein and all this other stuff. Like, you know, it's clear as day, man. But yeah, that's it. That's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think about it. I think it's, you know, all degeneracy, gambling bullshit is not good, man. Stay away from it. And I will not be pushing that stuff for any time soon. And I don't think ever. I just don't see any way of me, unless they're just offering me like a dumb amount of money where you guys, if you guys are true fans, you guys have seen this clip, don't accept it. You know, if I ever push it, just don't accept the gambling shit. Just know that it's a scam 9 times out of 10. But I won't push it because to me in general, I've never been the type of person to be pushing fake bullshit onto people. I think the only I did 2 sponsorship deals where I was like, I'm never going to do that again, which is one, that game. It was like a game where like you win coins and potentially could lead to money. That was the one I did not, you know, I thought about it and I was like, why did I push this? It's stupid. And then the second one, I remember one getting backlash for it. It was nicotine gum. And people thought I was pushing people to like get addicted to nicotine, but it was gum for getting people off of nicotine. Instead of cigarettes, you can chew these pieces of gum and slowly weigh yourself off of nicotine. So that was the purpose of that. I think people just kind of misunderstood it. Some people were like, why are you trying to push nicotine on people? And I was like, no, it's quite the opposite, but that didn't hit well, and I didn't like doing that. So those are the 2 that I was like, But I've been offered behind the scenes at least 50 to 100 times to push gambling stuff and have declined it. I just don't see myself ever pushing that because I don't like to push my audience into bullshit. And that's what it is. You're having your audience's trust and they trust in you to guide them. At least I'm not, responsible for people's lives and what they do with their choices, right? But to a certain extent, you guys expect me to hold a certain standard, to hold a certain value, morals, and to push that to you guys is against my values and morals. And that's fucked up to be doing that to an audience that trusts me. So that's my take on it. And yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward with all this stuff. But I'm pretty sure Charlamagne and Akademiks are going to be beefing with each other because one's on Drake's side, one's on Jay-Z's side. Even politically, one's a Republican, one's a Democrat. So complete polar opposites. And, this might lead to the Drake and Jay-Z beef. Hopefully. That's what I'm here for. I want some bars. I want some dope tracks. But yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, finally, let's get into the news. And there is an update when it comes to Keefe D's murder trial. And it's not a good update, at least for Keefe D. So let's go over the article. The death of Tupac remains one of hip-hop's biggest unsolved mysteries, but that might change with the upcoming murder trial of longtime suspect Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. According to CBS 8 News Now, Las Vegas report, the judge in the case allowed for Keefe's book, Compton Street Legend, to be used as evidence in court proceedings. Damn. In that book, he reveals everything. So they're using that as evidence. He's fucked. Keefe D's lawyers try to prevent this, as well as the minutes of Los Angeles Police Department interviews as evidence in the trial. He claims he had an agreement with the LAPD to keep police interviews off legal records, and he and his legal team claim the book is pure fiction that a jury should not examine. But prosecutors reportedly argue the book voided that agreement. Compton Street Legend reportedly details Keefe's alleged role in orchestrating the murder of death row rapper. However, the door is reportedly still open when it comes to the police interviews and sequestering the jury. The jury trial will reportedly begin later this summer, specifically on August 10th. We will see what evidence enters the courtroom by the time proceedings begin. So yeah, elsewhere, other claims about Keefe D's alleged Tupac confessions have surfaced. For example, a report emerged claiming audio tapes of Keefe's jail calls feature him allegedly bragging about orchestrating the murder. No official reports on whether or not prosecutors will use that as evidence have emerged at the press time. So yeah, I guess we'll see as, next month rolls in. Hopefully there's actually, this shit actually starts because it's been a long ass time. I think he got locked up in 2023, if I'm right. Yeah, I think somewhere around there. Yeah, 2023, potentially 2024. somewhere around there. So it's been a long time, but not a good look for him, man. Having the book featured in there as evidence, it's a wrap. Basically, in the book, he detailed everything, so he's cooked. I think he is going to get actually charged with this stuff. I mean, I just don't see how it gets out of this, especially because the book is being used now. But we'll see what happens moving forward. Updates on Lil Durk's trial. After spending nearly 2 years preparing to defend one criminal case, Lil Durk's attorneys say federal prosecutors significantly expanded the scope of the case just weeks before trial. According to All Hip Hop in a newly filed motion, the Chicago rapper's legal team argues the government introduced new racketeering allegations at the last minute, forcing the defense to investigate additional claims while preparing for a trial that could carry life-altering consequences. Rather than requesting another delay, Durk's attorneys are asking the court to split the newly added charges from the original case tied to the 2022 shooting that killed Quantarano's cousin, Lil Pab. If the court denies, the defense seeks dismissal of the entire indictment. According to the filing, prosecutors spent nearly 2 years building their case around the Los Angeles shooting before introducing a broader theory that alleges Durk was involved in multi-state criminal enterprise, along with new charges that include racketeering, murder, and conspiracy to stalk. The motion also argues that the timing raises constitutional concerns. Durk has remained in federal custody since October 2024, and according to his attorneys, consistently objected to previous trial delays. The filing states that the defense must now review roughly a terabyte, that's insane, a terabyte, of additional discovery while investigating new allegations across multiple states, all with the August 20 trial date approaching. A federal judge is scheduled to hear arguments on July 27th. It's a hearing that could determine whether the case proceeds are currently charged or takes a different path before trial. Interesting. So yeah, there you have it. I think they don't want any more delays. I mean, nobody wants delays in this situation because, Durk is just going to spend more time in prison while they're trying to figure this out. But, it's a reasonable request to say that, hey, initially this is what we were preparing for, but you guys have added a bunch of new shit that has really nothing to do with the case, but you guys are all trying to tie it into one to make it seem like Durk is this serial killer, basically, instead of just focusing on one situation that's happening right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. If they don't get their way, they're probably going to ask for a delay. Probably 100% it's going to happen, but we'll see what happens moving forward. Updates on Kanye West's lawsuit from his former assistant, and it looks like there's a settlement that's going to happen very close here, which, settlements, give or take, is not really a form of admission of guilt, but it does look that way. So let's go over this article. Nearly 2 years after Lauren Pisciata first filed suit against Kanye West, the long-running legal battle appears to be nearing its conclusion. Attorneys for both sides reportedly told a Los Angeles judge this week that they have reached a settlement in principle, signaling that one of the rapper's most closely watched civil cases could be soon resolved if a final agreement is completed. According to court documents obtained by Complex, the parties informed the court that they participated in mediation earlier this month and have since agreed to the framework of a settlement. As a result, upcoming hearing has been taken off the court's calendar, while both sides reportedly work to finalize the remaining details. They are expected to return to court in late September if additional proceedings are necessary. Pisciata, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Pisciotto, originally sued Ye in 2024, accusing him of sexual harassment and wrongful termination following her time working as an assistant. She later expanded the lawsuit to include additional allegations, including sexual assault, battery, and sex trafficking. A text from West reportedly reads, "See, my problem is I be wanting to fuck, but then after I fuck, I want a girl to tell me how hard they've been fucked while I'm fucking them. Then I want her to, what the fuck?" I'm just like reading all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They don't want her to cheat on me. Ye has denied the claims throughout the case. The proposed settlement in principle does not constitute an admission of liability by either party. If finalized, the agreement would bring one of the most high-profile civil lawsuits surrounding the artist to a close. Yeah, so it's not an admission of guilt per se, but hey, man, if you don't want it to go trial, that means that you probably don't want stuff, because once it goes to trial, all that's public information. So you probably don't want things to be out there more in the public, or you just want it to go away. You don't want to deal with it anymore. Sometimes, that's the situation with Michael Jackson's first child abuse allegation, where he was doing so much in his life, touring and all this stuff, that lawsuit was like bringing him down. It was causing him not to want to tour. It was just basically bringing too much. It was draining too much energy from him. And his lawyers were like, listen, settle that, whatever millions it was. Settle that, get that out the way. You can make that on a tour, no problem. That's like a drop in the bucket when it comes to the money that you're making. And that way you're you're relieved from stress and you can move forward with it. But obviously that was a bad situation. That was a bad decision because even Michael Jackson regretted it, because then that saw people look to him as an ATM and say, okay, since he settled that one, he'll probably settle the one that I accuse him of doing. That's why you got to fight these things, man. You just have to fight them, because then you're looked at as a target where you're just going to settle cases and people are just going to want money out of you. So we'll see what happens with this moving forward if it actually settles 100%. But yeah, we reported on it back in 2024, and here's the update to where maybe it finally finishes. Speaking of lawsuits from a long time ago, Cardi B has won more money against Tasha K. So let's go over this. Cardi B and Tasha K have been at odds for what feels like a better part of a decade now. After accusing Tasha K of defamation in 2019, Cardi B won a $3.9 million judgment. Just last year, both sides were finally able to settle on a payment plan. However, Cardi B took Tasha K back to court this year for violating their non-disparagement clause. The clause was very simple. Tasha K was not allowed to talk about Cardi B or the people around her. The gossip blogger ended up violating this clause after delivering some commentary on Offset and Stefan Diggs. In the end, the court sided with Cardi B, and according to Billboard, they have awarded the rapper an extra $60,000. She was looking for upwards of six figures, but in the end, the settlement came to a mid five-figure mark. In the midst of all this, Cardi B is currently going after Tasha K's husband. She believes the blogger's husband is trying to hide her assets so that she isn't on the hook for her settlement payments. This is just another example of how this legal battle has continued to materialize for 7 years now. Cardi B wants her money, and she also wants Tasha K to stop talking about her love life. Speaking of that love life, Cardi B and Stefan Diggs appear to be no longer together. Yeah, so there's that. But hey, she won another $60,000. Is she gonna get paid? It's interesting, man. When you win these lawsuits and shit, it's like why am I not getting paid out of this? What's can't these courts just freeze the person's bank account and just say, hey, you're not allowed to open shit? But they, loopholes, and it's just crazy, man. If I was awarded money, I'd be like, where's my fucking money? But yeah, that's the update on that. And Tasha K has more to pay, another $60,000 on top of that $3.9 million. So crazy. Updates on Soulja Boy's lawsuit, and it's not looking good on this either. So let's go over the article. Soulja Boy's multi-million-dollar legal debt is only getting more expensive. According to TMZ, the rapper now owes an additional $1,165 in interest every day, as a nearly $4 million judgment against him continues to go unpaid. Court documents reportedly show the balance is steadily increasing. Meanwhile, his former assistant and ex-girlfriend continues efforts to collect what she's owed. The judgment stems from a civil trial earlier this year in which a jury found Soulja Boy liable for sexual battery, intention infliction of emotional distress, and several other claims brought by the woman. The former assistant, whose identity is concealed under Jane Doe name, originally filed her lawsuit in 2021. The lawsuit alleged that what began as a romantic relationship eventually turned abusive, with the jury ultimately siding in her favor. It was revealed in court that the plaintiff had worked as Soulja Boy's personal assistant in 2019 and 2020. Jane Doe cried as her lawyer, Ronald Zambrano, made his closing arguments that ultimately won the case. He raped her, he punched her, he kicked her, he cut her, picked up and then slammed her, choked her, left bruises from squeezing her arm. He grabbed her head by a mirror and said, "No one will love you." Zambrano alleged he pointed a Draco gun at her. He locked her in her room, threatened her family and threatened her, denied her food. He continued. Soulja Boy has consistently denied the allegations. The financial consequences have only escalated since the verdict. The plaintiff has been pursuing multiple avenues to recover the money, including an effort to have Soulja Boy's music royalties and residual income sold to help satisfy the judgment. With interest continuing to accrue daily, the amount owed has now grown well beyond the original award. The case marks one of several legal issues Soulja Boy has faced in recent years. Although the rapper remains active on social media and continues releasing music independently, his legal troubles has frequently overshadowed his career. He has repeatedly denied wrongdoing throughout the proceedings, but the civil judgment remains in place. Unless the debt is paid and otherwise resolved, the amount Soulja Boy owes will continue climbing by more than $1,000 every single day. Damn, son, where'd you find that debt? That's crazy, man. But yeah, if he actually did all that stuff, which, if she won, clearly they had some outstanding evidence. I mean, he's a piece of shit. Simple as that. Pay the girl the money. She clearly deserves it because of all the stuff he did to her. But yeah, man, another lawsuit update and another situation where more money's flying out of people's buttocks. But we'll see what happens moving forward. T.I. and Tiny's huge OMG Girls lawsuit, where they were awarded $71 million, has been reduced. So let's go over what's going on. T.I. and Tiny Harris's lengthy legal battle with MGA Entertainment has reached another milestone. According to Billboard, a federal jury declined to award the couple additional punitive damages in their copyright infringement case against the toy company. However, the Harrises will keep the $18 million they were previously awarded without any added compensation. The lawsuit dates back to 2020. It accuses MGA of copying the likeness, name, fashion, hairstyles, and overall aesthetic of the OMG Girls for its wildly successful LOL Surprise OMG doll line. The trio was originally formed by Tiny in 2009. Moreover, they became known for their colorful outfits and distinctive style, which the Harrises argued was unlawfully replicated. While the latest decision wasn't the outcome T and Tiny were hoping for, it still leaves them with a significant courtroom victory. Their attorneys released a statement saying they were disappointed in the verdict regarding punitive damages. They argued that the evidence showed MGA lacked adequate policies to prevent intellectual property infringement. We will continue to fight for our clients' rights and the rights of all creatives, the statement read. The case has taken years to resolve, spanning 4 separate trials. At one point, the Harrises were awarded $53 million in punitive damages, but that decision was later overturned after a judge ruled there wasn't enough evidence to prove MGA acted with willful infringement or concisely disregarded the group's intellectual property rights. Despite that setback, they secured $18 million. So yeah, you do the math on that. Basically, what? 71 million or some shit like that was awarded. So you add another 10 to that with 8 and 3, 9 to, yeah. So 71 million in total that were awarded. But yeah, that 53 million in punitive damages has been reversed. But regardless, man, hey, whether you're up 71 or 18 million, you're still up millions. So fuck it, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, that's the update on that. I'm pretty sure that's the final say on it, but we'll see. Maybe his lawyers fight back and they get a different type of judgment. I promise, guys, this is the last one, but there's another lawsuit that has officially settled. So this whole episode has been just basically lawsuits settling. And Chris Brown has been ordered to pay a lot of money. So let's go over this. Chris Brown has been in court over the past couple of weeks due to the civil lawsuit brought against him by a former housekeeper, Maria Avila. The housekeeper says one of Brown's dogs attacked her and left her with significant physical and emotional injuries. Additionally, she accused Brown of failing to call 911 when she needed assistance. Throughout the trial, it was later revealed that Brown walked away from the situation because he was scared of the 911 call leaking. Someone on the singer's team had to make the call for emergency services. As you can imagine, this revelation did not bode well for him as the jury made its decision. According to TMZ, Brown was found liable for the housekeeper's injuries. She was seeking $90 million in damages. The jury ultimately awarded her upwards of $13 million. A couple weeks ago, the civil suit was declared a mistrial after one of the jury members Googled information about the case. This is a big no-no when it comes to the jury etiquette. However, the court did not waste time in finding a brand new jury. The case resumed later that week, and on Tuesday evening, a decision was made by the jury. It's a decision that suggests Brown acted in negligent and inhumane manner towards Avila. Avila broke down in tears on the stand, which showcases the emotional toll this whole experience took on her. Hopefully she can find some peace after this ruling. So, I saw a lot of different opinions on this, but basically a full breakdown of this, well, a pretty full breakdown, is that Chris Brown basically testified and said, hey, my dogs, and then there's my security's dogs. And I have kids in my house. I don't let them go in the backyard when I know the dogs are out, roaming around, and just having fun, I guess, in the grass fields or whatever. Because, something like this could happen. And he kind of put the blame on her and said, you shouldn't have gone out there. But she was going out there to throw away the trash. She wasn't going out there to relax and walk around. She just got out there, throw away the trash. The dog attacked her. And honestly caused a lot of damages. I mean, nerve pain and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, she got really, really hurt badly by this dog. And Chris Brown basically said, hey, it wasn't my dog, even though the dog was my property. It was my security's dog, not mine. So how am I held fully reliable for this? And he has to a certain point, he has extent, but at the end of the day, the dog is on your property. So you are liable. And he did admit to that I will take some responsibility because the dog was on my property. But yeah, the whole situation is kind of, it's messed up at the end of the day. And I know Chris Brown, he he didn't intend for that to happen. But I think the bad part where it looks really bad on him is he didn't call 911. He wasn't the one like making sure, oh shit, I got to call, make sure, he's like, I'm going to get the hell up out of here and let my security deal with this. And that looks bad. Obviously, I know he didn't want the call to be out there, but hey, it makes you look better as a person when you're trying to help this, this situation. And he probably, she probably wouldn't have sued. Who knows what would have happened. But for him to just leave her like that and just let security handle it, she could have potentially died from bleeding out. Who knows? So I think 13 million is more than reasonable. 90 million she was asked for is insane, but 13 million, hey man, Chris Brown's touring with Usher, so I'm sure that money's going to go to her, and it is what it is. But that's the update on it, and that's final, and we'll see if anything happens moving forward. All right, so official video footage of Pooh Shiesty robbing Gucci Mane or forcing Gucci Mane to get him out of his contract has officially come out online. And obviously the faces are blurred out, but we know it's Gucci. You can hear his voice. It sounds exactly like Gucci. And Pooh Shiesty is basically saying, hey, confirm on video that I'm out of this contract, which is this so stupid. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And as Gucci's moving, you can see the guy pull out the AK on video. First off, having the guy on AK on video is dumb. Like having an AK and now you're like, it's hostage. You're holding him hostage and telling him he can't leave. There's so many charges that can come out of this. Like I can't even fathom. I can't even break down how many charges are going to come out of this. It's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, the video footage is out. Let's check it out right now, and I'll talk about it more after.
What shit? You dropped this dumb deal.
Bro, let them know
It's a
you
done deal.
on, bro.
It's a done deal.
Let them know you dropping me,
I
bro.
drop you.
No, say it.
Who should actually drop from 1017?
Shout out to real nigga. Ain't never did no police shit or none of that, bro. Tell them what's going on.
Bro, we just did that. That's done.
What you do?
You drop. You said you want to be dropped, you drop.
You signed the paper
I
and
signed the
it's
paper, it's done.
There you have it. Probably the dumbest footage I've ever seen in my life. Pooh Shiesty deserves every year of sentencing that he's going to get. This guy had every opportunity to change his life. Didn't want to do it, but decided to be a crash out dummy. Now, Pooh Shiesty is going to be locked up for I'm assuming at minimum 10 years, potentially more, way more. But he's going to be locked up for a while. And Gucci's going to be laughing all the way to the bank because he's not officially off of the label. Doesn't matter if you threaten. Signing under distress doesn't count as an official signing of you being off of any label. They even had a paper saying that all the rights go to Pooh Shiesty and all the money goes to Pooh Shiesty, which is the dumbest. Like if you're going to fake a contract or if you're going to force somebody to sign a contract, it can't be that stupid to where the other person will willingly sign receiving no money. Like, think about it. What deal would you sign where somebody says, I get 100% of everything and you get nothing, and let's just sign the deal, and that's it? That's, it's fair on both terms. Like, what? Like, if you're going to sign out of a contract, you should at least try to make it look like it's real by saying, oh, Gucci's, even though I'm out of this contract, Gucci's going to receive 20% of earnings for the next 5 years or something where at least it would make sense for Gucci to sign. But signing a fucking, like, this is how dumb they are. Like, this is how stupid. The IQ level is like a 70. Like, genuine, just stupid as fuck. That they had a contract written out that said, hey, Gucci gets nothing. 0, 100, nothing. I get 100%, Gucci gets nothing. And yeah, Gucci willingly signed that. Like, how fucking stupid do you get? So not only the contract's stupid, but they record this shit on video thinking that if they have it on video, that, hey, it's officially confirmed. And Gucci, like, it didn't even make Gucci look bad. Gucci was just like, yeah, you're off the label, man. Like, what's the point of this? Like, you could tell in his tone, like, yeah, you're out, man. What's the point of this? Like, why are we doing this? This is so stupid. This is not how business works. But that's what you get when signing morons that, like, this guy had momentum getting out. Like, you have FDO came out, great momentum. You got the record with Glorilla, was supposed to come out. Now it's officially released, but at the time you're building momentum with that. Like, you have momentum. You can start to build out your career. Even if you don't like your contract currently, you work until you get out of that contract. Or you try to talk to Gucci and say, hey, man, at the time of the signing, I didn't really know the details of what was going on, but, hey, the contract is this. Can we make it something like this? I can work and build this and figure this out. But no, instead of that, you just go to straight violence and trying to kill somebody and rob them and forcing them out of contracts. Fucking moron. You deserve every time that you're getting in prison. And I hope, honestly, you get locked up for a lot longer than whatever time that they're probably going to give you like 10 years, which is not enough. This guy's been a repeat offender. Like, this guy just doesn't learn. At what point do you just say, hey, let me just get my life together? I have every opportunity to make millions and millions of dollars, but fuck it. I'm just going to go rob, kill, steal, shoot, do whatever the fuck I want to do. Like, this type of shit, just this degenerate bullshit, just stupid shit, just pisses me off. But yeah, that's the video, and that's my take on it. And yeah, lock that guy out for a long time, man. He deserves it. And everybody else surrounding the situation that approved of it and agreed to do it. Lock them all up because they're all morons. Lil Wayne, he hasn't been taken really anything business-wise ever serious, and this is a perfect example as to why a lot of people actually said this about the Super Bowl, why he shouldn't have performed at the Super Bowl because of this exact thing. So let's go over the article. Lil Wayne has often drawn controversy for his concert absences, and the expansion of the Carter Anniversary Tour has sadly kicked off to a similar start. According to TMZ, he did not show up for the concert in Maine last night, which was Tuesday, June 30th. That was meant to kick the trek off at the Bangor waterfront with special guest 2 Chainz, who did reportedly perform. The game will also reportedly appear as a special guest during the concert series. The outlet cited a local report that claimed the venue informed the crowd Weezy wasn't going to perform just minutes after Wayne's allegedly scheduled appearance time of 10:45 p.m. local time. But the show began hours before, so the timeline of specific parts of the concert is longer. At press time, there isn't an official explanation from his team. But look, Lil Wayne addressed it. He said this. He said, "My main fans, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," Wayne said. "The show is being rescheduled to July 28th. Please hold on to your tickets. They will be honored for the rescheduled date. More information will be emailed directly to ticket holders. I ain't shit without you. I can't wait to come back and give you the show you deserve." Despite the apology, many fans are still upset with how this played out. I came here for Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz, and it was the most terrible experience. We drove over 6 hours to be here, a fan from Nova Scotia told WABI. "Never mind the money. It's like moments in life that was going to be a moment. My friend left her 6-month baby for the first time. Like, it's people's time. Just don't waste people's time. We paid for Lil Wayne. Like, the least you could do is come out for a minute, apologize, like, just take the moment and be like, hey, guys, sorry, not feeling it, feeling a little sick." But even that, they would be upset about. But regardless, they're right, man. These are people that work hard for their money, and they're willing to spend it to see you. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Wayne? Instead, you see Lil Wayne at an all-white party with Michael Rubin and all those other guys that support Diddy and love Diddy. And Jay-Z was there, and DJ Khaled and Lil Baby and all these weird people that used to be at the all-white Diddy parties. That's where he was at. Instead of showing up to a place where his fans spent their hard-earned money. But yeah, this is a perfect example of why he didn't appear at the Super Bowl, why probably Jay-Z was like, nah, I ain't having this guy who's not professional. He probably won't even show up at the Super Bowl. Yeah, or if he does show up, it would be a very lackluster performance. So Wayne has always been known. I actually got told a story, and I believe this was reported in the news. I could be wrong, so I might be telling you guys something that I know behind the scenes. But regardless, when 50 had Wayne to come out to the Final Lap tour, I believe in New Orleans or wherever he was at, he had Lil Wayne as a special guest. Wayne was ready to go, put on everything, mic, all this stuff that he had, the earbud that you have to for music, blah, 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 all that. And he goes there, he's getting ready to go, and a security guard accidentally brushes his shoulder against him. Wayne threw a fit and just didn't want to appear. He left. Just because of that. Just because a security guard accidentally brushed their shoulder against him. That's how much of a diva that Wayne is. And we've heard stories of Wayne being a diva millions of times. So, yeah, this guy isn't somebody that I would really rely on heavily to do stuff. I think he has this persona of like, I'm the greatest ever in the world. And to a certain extent, he was. He could act like that and people would have to accept it because, hey, Wayne was the hottest thing since sliced bread in 2008, 2006 to 2009, 10, you could say. He had that insane run where everybody was just loving everything he was releasing. But that's a long time ago. That's 15 years ago or 20 years ago to a certain extent. We're not there anymore. So, yeah, very sad news, and I'm glad at least, the fans are getting a new date, but I would honestly I would return it. I wouldn't accept it. But, yeah, that's it on that, and we'll see what happens moving forward on this tour. Maybe he shows up doesn't show up to other dates. That's crazy that 2 Chainz, who's not even headlining the fucking show, shows up. Crazy, man. But yeah. Floyd Mayweather addresses all the reports of him being broke. Now, there is a kind of asterisk, I don't know, that's the proper word, but this interview is a little bit older that Cameron hasn't released. So Cameron decided to stop by Floyd Mayweather's boxing gym, did an interview with him, and this interview was done before all these crazy reports have come out. Like, there were some reports of him being broke, like, or having money issues before this interview, which I believe this interview happened in like March 6, 2026 is when the interview happened. So in March 2026, there wasn't as much reports as there are now about Floyd struggling financially. So you got to kind of look at this interview like it's a little outdated. If Floyd did an interview now, it'd be a little bit different, I think, because of all the information out there. But yeah, so Cameron decided to ask Mayweather about his financial issues, and he addressed it. So check out this clip.
So a lot of people are saying you're doing this just cause of the money. Is it just cause money, or just what you want to do?
Well, as you know, I mean, nobody has taken none of my properties away from me.
Right.
So I still got all my houses. I still got everything. My mother, and my whole family, they bills still paid.
Right.
I still pay all my employees.
So the truth. One more question. I'm gonna let you finish.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the paper.
No.
Let's go back to that to the paper.
Right.
You know, I was thinking about something, right?
Yeah. You doing very great.
And a lot of times, no, hold on, let me film it. Yeah. Okay, so check this out.
Yeah.
Now, when you really think about this, right? We got our people, meaning the black community.
Yeah.
These people have been paying money for years to come see me fight.
Yeah.
These people will put equity out of their house, bet their life savings, and they bet it on Floyd because I've proved that I'm 100% when I get in that ring.
Right.
Okay, so they'll bet their life savings on Floyd Mayweather every time because they believe in me, right? And they rooting because they want to see me win. And then after they go home and they got everything they want, they praying on my downfall.
Facts.
They praying on my downfall. So, yeah, we don't want to see Floyd with nothing.
Right.
And so, I mean, and in due time, you know, a lot of times they say, oh, it's this lawsuit, it's that lawsuit. One thing about me, whoever I get involved with, as far as with business, I get myself out of the situation.
Okay.
You know, one thing we're not going to do is go out there and go point fingers. Oh, this person got me in that. As a man, you know, if me and you doing business and things don't go right, and if me and you sit down and communicate and try to iron things out, if we can't iron things out, then it's best that we go our separate ways. It's just like a divorce.
Right.
You know, and if a man and a woman been married, just say 30 years, it's going to take a lot of unraveling.
Right.
So even like, you know, when they talking about these different cases, oh, it's this, it's that. One thing about it, it's not me.
Okay.
It's not me.
Right.
But one thing I'm not, you know, I'm the main face.
Yes, sir.
I'm the biggest name.
Absolutely.
So with me being the main face and the biggest name, who they going to point the finger at?
You.
Okay.
There you go.
So it's no different from when you hear stuff like a jeweler. They told me that a jeweler, because remember I ain't got social media on my phone.
Right.
You know, I'm too focused on like I said, building generational wealth. Just like a lot of time, you know, I be jumping subjects, but just like when people oh, why Floyd doing this? Why Floyd doing that? Man, listen, I'm not in nobody else's business. One thing about me, I stay in my own business.
Right.
So the thing is like this: if I was taking punishment throughout my career and I couldn't walk or talk, I couldn't articulate well, then I'd be like, yo, fuck that.
Right.
But as far as me going out, having fun, entertaining, being in control, doing exhibitions, keeping my body in shape, let me do what I want to do. I don't pocket watch nobody. I don't know what nobody doing.
Right.
And then it was so crazy that they was talking about one time I seen them. They told me I guess when I went to a game, you know, I didn't have season tickets for somewhere close to 30 years.
Right.
Watch the Lakers and the Clippers, and every time I pay the people, I pay in cash. That's having cash is a part of our culture. That's what we rap about. That's what we talk about.
Right.
You know, we floss and we flashy. My name is money.
Right.
So if my name is money, I'm not paying nobody with no credit card.
Right.
If my name is money, I'm gonna pull out that Dookie knot and be like, wow, here you go.
Ain't nothing new though.
I mean, I've been doing this.
That's
and
fact.
then they try to say, oh, well, why did he do that? Oh, why did he do that in front of Jay-Z? Jay-Z is this and Jay-Z is that. Man, listen, I love my people.
Right.
If anything, Jay-Z love how I pop it,
right.
and I love how he rap. And the reason why I know he love how I pop it, that's why he didn't show it up to so many of my fights.
Facts.
Cause game respect game. I respect this game. I respect this hustle.
Right.
You know, a lot of time, even like different individuals, where people be like, oh, and like it could be people from all walks like, oh, this guy is worth this and this guy is worth that. My whole thing is this: I don't know what nobody is worth. Fuck what you're worth, what you got.
Right.
So at the end of the day, for the last 30 years, like, I mean, ain't nobody see me in no soup line. I ain't been out on the streets begging like my hands is cups.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There you have it. Basically, Floyd saying, hey, mind your own business. And, you know, all these reports, we got to also take a lot of the stuff with a grain of salt. We got to see, you know, as I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you, if Floyd's rich or not. But I think the reason why people care is because Floyd is so flashy and so in your face about the money that he has that now it's being reported that he doesn't have money. So people are going to clown him for that. And that's the difference between like J. Cole. If it comes out he doesn't have money, people aren't really going to attack him or clown him for it because he's not that type of flashy person in your face to brag about, you know, all the money that he's made versus Floyd, who every photo, he's got a bag of money. He's got all these watches he shows off, all these cars, houses, and that's his like braggadocious lifestyle. So when it comes out that, hey, he doesn't have these things and he's losing money and people are stealing from him and all this, people are going to laugh at it. You know, that's just the reality of the situation. It's about how you are as a person. If you're humble, respectful, you don't lead with money, people have more sympathy for you if you end up losing the money, become broke. Versus if you're somebody that leads with money, brags with money, all this stuff, different story, you know. But yeah, interesting take from Floyd, you know, especially the boxing thing where like, hey, people bet on me to make money for themselves, but then when I go home, they wish for my downfall. You know, that's the reality of a lot of situations, but it's also about how you lead as a person. If Floyd wasn't as braggadocious, let's just say after, I get it during your career, right? You're braggadocious, you're doing all this because it's entertainment. You know, technically you're a boxing promoter, quote unquote, because you're trying to sell the fight, all this stuff. I get it during your career. To me, I have no issue with that. At the end of the day, I look at that as entertainment. But after Floyd's career, he was still doing that. He was still being braggadocious, still showing all his lifestyle and stuff. That's where I was like, all right, now this is just getting corny. I don't really give a fuck to see this. During, you know, to me, it's like entertainment. I don't mind it. Fuck it, man. You're flashy. You're showing, hey, we're the money team. No recession over here. We're balling, all this stuff. I understand. It's entertainment. You're trying to sell tickets. You're trying to make it cool. But after, I was like, all right, this is getting to a point where it's like, we get it, bro. You got money. We get it. That's my take on it. I really don't wish anybody a downfall in any type of way. It doesn't benefit me, or even if it did, why the fuck would I wish a downfall, man? Because that could be anybody. You can be up here and you can go down at any given moment in life. Maybe not at that scale because not a lot of people reach hundreds of millions of dollars, but let's just say I'm making $500,000 a year. I could easily get down and reduce to $30,000 a year. And then what? You know, so that's just the reality of life, man. Ups, downs, lefts, and rights. So yeah, that's my take on it. And we'll see with Floyd. Maybe he does a new interview kind of addressed and everything, or he just ignores it. He probably will ignore it. Doubt he'll do an interview, but whoever he interviews, definitely going to be interesting. T.I. is back in the headlines, and this all just really proved 50 Cent right. After all these months, it seems like T.I. just used 50 for promo for his album that's coming out this week. T.I. stopped by Joe Budden's podcast, and he got asked about doing a versus again with somebody, because obviously whenever T.I. does an interview, there's always a versus conversation because people want to see T.I. in a versus. But the way he answered this showed that he never really wanted to do a versus. He just wanted to promote his music. Joe Budden's crew decided to ask T.I. about a versus, and T.I.'s response like shocked the whole internet. He basically said that only broke artists do verses. which is technically a diss towards French Montana, Rick Ross, DMX, Snoop Dogg, whoever did a versus in the past. He's basically saying that, hey, man, that's for broke people. I don't need to do that. And that's shocking to hear from someone that was begging 50 Cent to do a versus for years. I mean, we're talking back in 2020. That's when he started with the versus thing, has been begging 50 to do one. And then when he got called out by 50 and said, nah, I don't want to do this, you're a rat, he then decided to make it about a family issue, even though 50, kind of instigated that part of it. But still, asking somebody to do a versus and begging all these years and then coming back and saying, nah, it's all for broke artists, that is surprising. It shocked everyone. So check out this clip.
I don't want to indulge in that side of life no more. I ain't even interested, bro. Like, ain't no money over there in that bro. That's poor people activity.
Oh, hell no.
Usually Joe Budden's clips are copyrighted, so if I couldn't play the clip, basically what T.I. said, yeah, it's broke people activities. And then they mentioned about, Joe Budden kind of pushed back and said, no, it's a celebratory thing where people are celebrating each other's catalogs. And then they go back and forth on if you can win or lose a versus. But basically, T.I. says both artists essentially get a spike in their music streams because of the verses. So nobody really loses, but maybe on the performance side, you can lose a versus. And then they discuss, T.I. and Jeezy potentially doing a versus, and they're glad that never ended up happening because, one person there was a Jeezy fan, blah, blah, blah. So that's essentially what happened in the clip. And T.I.'s getting a lot of backlash for this, and rightfully so, because you were throughout years and years begging to do a versus with 50. 50 ignored you, and it got into this whole beef in the beginning of this year. And the people that were saying that T.I. is using 50 for promotion for his album now have to eat their words because it's clear as day that's what T.I. was doing. How are you going to backtrack on this and talk about a versus for poor people after all this? And what's the funny thing is 50 himself said that verses are for artists that are essentially washed up. He didn't say it word for word like that, but he said, listen, why would I want to go back and to my career and have to relive that moment of my career when I already lived it to the max when I was going through my career? I got to the peak of the peak. What's the point of that, going back over my catalog? For what? He just never entertained it because he felt like artists that do that are stuck in that time period of their career and they're reliving their glory moments. So usually if somebody's reliving their glory moments, they're usually washed up. They're not making great money, like they once were. Without 50 didn't say it directly like that, but, that's what he's basically saying. Throughout all the interviews of people asking him, he was like, why would I go revisit something like that? And he said it was more of a COVID pandemic type of fun thing to do at that time. And that people have kind of moved on from it. And to a certain extent, he's right. Some of the views on verses will never match what it was during the shutdown. But, hey, man, this T.I. situation, I'm a huge fan of T.I. I love his catalog. I think T.I. versus T.I.P. is damn near a classic. He's got great catalog of music. I mean, from King to T.I. versus T.I.P. to Paper Trail. I think that's one of the best 3 album runs back to back to back, probably in any artist's career. So I'm a huge fan of T.I. I can't wait for this album. The album artwork is beautiful. The track list is looking amazing. So I'm excited for that. But this type of stuff that T.I. does kind of just makes me not appreciate him as much. Sometimes people can do things that are corny that ruins the kind of career that they have. And T.I.'s done a lot of things these past couple of years. That's just been like, what are you doing? And then there's a crazy thing that happens in this Joe Budden podcast. Another crazy thing that happens is T.I. denies that he dissed Ludacris on Young Buck's Stomp record. And he gets quoted the bars because in the interview he says, I don't remember what I said. I didn't say anything disrespecting Ludacris. And then somebody quotes him the bars and says, me getting beat down, that's Ludacris. And in those bars, you're using his name. And T.I.'s like, well, I'm a rapper, and his name is Ludacris. It's a double entendre. He was like, Ludacris never got beat up, so how is it a diss towards him? And then he talks about a time where he ran into Ludacris, and he says that Luda thought he was dissing him on a certain record, and he was like, no, because everybody has that car, It's something about Bentleys in one of the verses. So, you know, hearing that too is kind of shocking because back on the Beef DVDs, he owned up to it that he dissed them. He didn't duck any smoke or anything.
I don't even remember what was in the verse. I don't think that. I don't. I honestly don't. I don't. I don't think that there was
getting
anything.
beat down, that's ludicrous. Okay, come on, you remember you said stop.
Okay.
All right, see, come on.
But you ain't know.
But
You ain't
if
know
you
he was
call
grabbing.
yourself ludicrous and I'm a rapper, you can't say that a double entendre is a diss because you named yourself
Come
that.
on, yo.
Hey, T.I.
What did I say?
Hey,
Me
come
get
on,
beat
come
down.
on.
Is that what I said? Me get beat down.
Getting
But that's
beat down, that's ludicrous.
But unless he just got his whooped, then it has no relation.
Nah.
But now he's like backtracking things. He's not wanting to do certain things. He's clowning certain things when his history shows that he wanted to do a versus. He just never got it with 50 because that's the one he really wanted to do. And he used to actually stand on dissing Ludacris at the time, but now he's backing out of that. And that's the crazy thing because I think Ludacris is very, very underrated when it comes to rapping. He doesn't get treated seriously because he has these like funny, jokey music videos and bars and songs, but he is lyrically a monster. And I think anybody that knows hip hop and that knows Ludacris's catalog can speak to that. But let me know what you guys think, man. I think T.I. is just not a good look, man, saying this. And that's what's going to catch headlines more is this than the album. I wish T.I. would have probably just not said that in the verses. That's what's going to happen is more people are going to be talking about this than the album. But also, as you're watching this video, you probably didn't know that his album's coming out this Friday. So it is promo for his album at the end of the day. I'm interested. I'm going to check out the album. I might even review it on the podcast. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of what T.I. has said. Before we get into the T.I. Kill the King album review, I want to talk about its album sales, the first week sales. It officially did 21,645 copies the first week. It debuted at number 30 on the Billboard 200 charts. 16,000 of that, 16,330 came from streams, and 4,827 came from physical CDs. So 21,000 copies the first week. Is that a success or a fail? And here I'm going to break down why I think it's not bad. It's not a success or a fail. I think it's like right where I would expect T.I. to be. And here's why. One, this is an independent album release. This has nothing to do with a major label. It's just solely off of T.I.'s energy. There's a distribution company with Empire who probably pushed out the physical CDs, but that's really about it. The success came from his single Let 'Em Know, which went gold. It's on pace to go platinum, which is great for independent artists. That did well. And then obviously some of the controversy with 50 helped because a lot more eyes were on the album. And then T.I. doing these interviews left and right to promote the album. And then also T.I. saying it's his final album. That incentivizes a lot more people to listen, to check out the album. We must remember, too, is it did about 30 million in streams. So when people say, oh, 21,000, only when 21,000 people were interested in this album, that's not the case. We got to remember this is streaming involved with physical CD sales. This is not just CD sales. If it was 21,000 in CD sales of people buying CDs, that is a huge fail. But we are in a different era where streams get counted as physical CD sales, about 1,500 streams or, I don't know the exact metrics. I forget because they change them every fucking year, it seems like. But basically 30 million in total streams for this album. And that's a pretty good number for an artist that is way past his prime. So that's another factor. So one, it's an independent release. Two, this is an artist way past their prime. I don't really give a fuck about artists and their sales when they're way past their prime. I really don't care. T.I. in his prime was doing 500,000, 600,000 first week. I don't know. Any other artists in their prime are doing insane numbers. Now they're way past that. They're not from the streaming era, which is another factor. So 21,000, I don't know. I feel like could have been a little bit better. Yeah, I think 40,000 would have been a better number where I would have been like, okay, this is a success. 21,000 isn't really that bad considering, let me see what his last album did in sales first week. Let's see if it did more or less. If it did less, then yeah, you can kind of argue this has been somewhat of a fail to a certain extent, but that was an album on a major label, so there's a little bit more investment, energy, time. Let's see, the Libra album. Let's see how this did when it released. It did 23,500. debuted at number 18. But this is on a major, I think Grand Hustle Empire. Same thing. It might be independent. Empire Distribution. Yeah, this was an independent album as well. So another independent album. Let's see what like his label album, Grand Hustle Epic. Yeah, so he uses Epic at here. So this is the actual major label album that he released in 2018. That did 32,000. So yeah, T.I.'s album sales have been slowly declining throughout the years, man. The last 3 albums have been in the, besides Dime Trap doing 32,000, Libra did 23, this one did 21. So it's been around the same time the past, since 2018, which is the past 8 years, same numbers. So he hasn't really succeeded. He did well in the single. Single did really well. I mean, it went up in the charts, it went in like number 38 or whatever the number was at. Gold going, that's pretty good. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really view it as a failure, and I don't really view it as a success. It's right in the middle to me. I feel like if you would have done more numbers than the Dime Trap, which was released in 2018 at 32,000, let's just say this album did like 35, 40, huge success. But he did basically what he's normally done. A little bit less than his last album by like 1,000, 1,500 copies, which isn't really a big difference. I think sales-wise, like I said, I think it doesn't succeed and it doesn't fail. It's right in the middle. And one thing is that T.I. missed the mark on when to release this album. I feel like if he would have released this album in April or May, it would have done way better. I think the hype slowly started to die down very quickly. I think he was betting on his second single. And the single choices, honestly, on this album, the rollout for the rest of the singles were bad. Let me see what the single selection was. That second single was terrible. It featured like his sons. I didn't give 2 fucks about that. Sorry, I clicked on a video. I didn't give 2 fucks about that single. Trauma Bound. That shit was, that did not do anything. That was Dookie Water. Didn't care about that. Mr. Him, that was more of a record that was pretty good, but I didn't really care for that either. I think he should have released Let 'Em Know, then released the Dope Boys Academy with T-Pain. That was a fire record, and we're going to talk about the album review after this, but that should have been the rollout, and then maybe Mr. Him is the third one. Would have done better, and just released the album a lot quicker than having to wait this whole time, because you released Let 'Em Know as a single in January. By March and April, you're beefing with 50. In April, I would have released the album, maybe May at worst, but releasing it in the end of June, and randomly, he didn't even give like much promo on the release date. He just announced it. Like, it was like, hey, here's the album. So more promo on the release date, a little bit earlier too would have been better, but I think he was trying to finish maybe clearing samples, maybe more records getting done. I think that's where he took a huge hit, is the timing of the release of this. But 21,000 first week. And I know I'm a 50 Cent fan and I'm a T.I. fan, and I'm more of a 50 fan than a T.I. fan, right? But if 50 released an album like this, would he do the same numbers? I think best case he'd do 40,000, which is better than obviously T.I. because 50 is a bigger artist than T.I. But let's not act like if 50 released an album, he would do 150,000 first week or even 100,000 first week. That's why 50's scared to release an album. Yes, I am saying this. He is scared to release an album because if you release an album and it does 30, 40,000, that's a flop, clearly, for 50. Animal Ambition independently did 46,000 copies. This is without streaming. This is physical CDs. But imagine he released an album on a major label, or even if he did it independently. I think if he did independently and did 60,000 first week, that's a success for 50. But at the end of the day, man, like I said, these guys are way past their prime. I don't give a shit. People care. I don't care. I really don't care what they sell. I just care, is the album good? That's all I give a fuck about. They've been in their prime. They did their numbers. They proved they can do numbers in their prime of their career. They dominated in the prime of their career. And that's it. Move on. But that's my take on it. Those are the 3 factors. I think releasing the album a little bit earlier would have been better promotion, independent release, and he's way past his prime, man. I don't think we really give a fuck, man, about sales like that. For me, I don't care. If you're still looking at sales from artists that came out in the early 2000s and judging them off that, you're corny in my eyes. I think the only sales that people look at right now is like Kendrick, Cole, and Drake, because they're still in their prime, I think you could say. Yeah, let's get into the album review and see what I like, what I dislike, and actually give an overall review of the album. Okay, now we are officially talking about T.I.'s Kill the King album and my review of it. The good thing is on this album, I don't have much neutral tracks. So let's go over how I review the albums. Basically, I have best tracks, bad tracks, and then neutral. Neutral is where I'm kind of on the fence on if I like this record or not. Maybe down the line I'll like it. Maybe down the line I won't. But on this album, it was pretty clear cut for me. There was nothing on the neutral besides the intro because I don't really care for it. So I don't have it on a bad and I don't have it on a good. I think intro, we'll talk about that right now. But yeah, I'm getting way ahead of myself. But yeah, I do, I'll put the best, bad, and the neutral, and then I'll rank it based on that and give a score out of 10. Yeah, let's get into it. This is T.I.'s quote-unquote final album, Kill the King. And starting with the intro, I have it on neutral because I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I really could care less for it. I feel like on this album, he should have had a hard intro, something where like, this is your last, quote-unquote last album. Go out with a bang, spit those bars, something crazy. But he didn't do that. He just kind of went a little soft. And throughout this album, man, I think he is mainly catering to his family being featured on the album versus like just making good music. And no disrespect to his kids, but just he's featuring too much of his family on this album to me, in my eyes, throughout the whole thing. But let's get into that. So the next track, number 2, See What I'm Saying. See what I'm saying? I love the hook, man. Love Young Dro as always. It's on my best tracks list. So this is a good track to me. I enjoyed it, bumped it. Let Them Know, love it. Of course, great single choice. Bumped it, loved it. The next track, Where I'm From, with Anderson .Paak and Stallone. Love this track. Great vibe to it. Great replay value for me. I was bumping this frequently. Rant, love it. Bars, T.I.'s, on the, I love when he just has solo records and he's just spitting. Production's great on here. Delivery, flow, all that. What's the next track here? Mr. Him. I wasn't a fan of this as a single. I wasn't a fan of this record overall. This was the first miss for me on this album going on the list. And yeah, just none of it does anything for me. I think he tried to get that same formula again with Let 'Em Know and just kind of missed, in my opinion. Continuing on, How It Went with The Dream, another track I could care less for. Wasn't a fan of it, just nothing connected with me. Next, Dope Boys Academy. Shout out to T.I., man. He brought this early 2000s or mid 2000s feel back. T-Pain killed the hook. Beat is amazing. T.I. killed his verse. Jeezy did his thing. The only thing I disagree with having on this track is 2 Chainz. I felt like he could have been left on this track. It would have been better without him. But overall, man, shout out to T.I. for delivering a more 2000s feel to the album with this track. This definitely should be the next single. Like I said, this should have been the single that should have been pushed right after Let 'Em Know. It would have performed really well because that would have fed more into the nostalgia feel with T.I. cutting his hair off, with him having a great lead single with Let 'Em Know, and then having this type of record. It would have fit a lot with the 2000s theme and fit in more with the nostalgia feel. But love this record. It is on my best tracks list. Pissed on the Dance Floor, could care less for this track. It is on my bad tracks list. Just don't care for it. And Won't, another track. T.I. has these records on his album sometimes where it's like more lovey-dovey feeling. Sometimes he does well with that. Sometimes he doesn't. It's like with T.I., I'm never really in between with these tracks. I either love them or I don't. And this is one of those I don't care for. Could care less for it. So, yeah. Gorgeous with Usher, another track I could care less for. It is on my bad tracks list. We On, another like hard-hitting T.I. record that bars, delivery, hook, love it. So it's on my best tracks list. The LL, I don't know how to pronounce this on this song, but it's the one with NBA Youngboy. Could care less for this record. Another track that just came and went for me. Didn't give 2 shits about it. Ego, I like this track. It was on my best tracks list. The OMG girls in the background, a nice little touch to it. So I enjoyed this track. Continuing on, Trauma Bound, another song that was a single. I didn't like this track. Could care less for it. Came and went for me. Next, Represent a Time with T.I. Sweta, and Young Dro. Another track I could care less for. Just came and went for me. Production, didn't really care for. I get it. It's more deep storytelling, but just didn't care for. Big Dog is another record I could care less for. This is one of those tracks where I felt like T.I. was trying to feature his kids into a song just to make a dope record. And it has like this rock, feel to it. Not a fan of it. Came and went. Could care less. Listened to it one time and just went right through it. And then Continental, the last track on the album. I enjoyed this track. I felt like it was a nice send-off if this is the actual final album. Great track overall. So, yeah, that's my review of it. Overall, let's go over what tracks I like. So, See What I'm Saying, Let 'Em Know, Where I'm From, Rant, Dope Boys Academy, We On, Continental, and Ego are what I feel the best tracks off this album. So that has 8 for best tracks. 8 tracks. The bad tracks are Mr. Him, How It Went, Pistol on the Dance Floor, And Won't, Gorgeous, LLOG, Clay with NBA Youngboy, Trauma Bound, Represent a Time, and Big Dog. Those are bad tracks that I could care less for. And then we have one neutral track, which is the intro. So with that math, I give this album a 4.5 out of 10. So it's not average. It's a little bit below average because it has more bad tracks than it has good tracks, but it's almost in the middle. If you take the intro and let's just say put it in the best, it's right in the middle, but I can't do that because the intro, it's really neutral. I really don't care for it. You know, it's not really a track per se either, at least in my eyes. So yeah, 4.5 out of 10. Not really that good of a rating, not really a good way to go out, but I feel like the execution of some of this stuff, too much featuring his family on the tracks, too much lovey-dovey on some tracks. I was like, why go this route? I feel like the first half of the album started out really well, and then the second half just went to straight shit, and I really could care less for the second half of the album. But that's my review of Kill the King. Let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy the album? I feel like it got positive reviews online. A lot more people liked it than disliked it, but nothing really. It's really been on par with what T.I.'s delivered the past 3 albums, man. I wasn't a fan of Dime Trap, wasn't a fan of the Libra album, and not really a fan of this album that much either, man. I feel like it has a little bit stronger songs, but not really a fan of this album either. His last 3 albums from T.I. just really haven't hit, man. I think even not the Paper Trail, but the Paperwork album, really, that was like the point where I was kind of like in between, where I was like, is really T.I. falling off now? That's where it really started for me in 2014. And then once Dime Trap came out, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm not really fucking with T.I.'s music like that anymore. But yeah, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. And let's get into the new music that's released, album sales, and Billboard Hot 100. So new music. Let's get into it. T.I., of course, dropped Kill the King. NBA Youngboy dropped more leaks to the project. Quavo dropped Havin'. Glorilla and Pooh Shiesty dropped the main record that was previewed a long time ago. Rich the Kid dropped Call on My Line. Coi Leray dropped Outside. Lil Gatta dropped Everything or Nothing, the album. Benny the Butcher dropped The Plugs I Met 2.5. More on new music. Ryla Rodriguez dropped Skate, the album. Ken Carson dropped Experiment, his album. Larry June dropped Organic Motion, his album. Rico Nasty dropped Cupcake. So there you go. More new music. Album sales. Let's get into it. We already talked about T.I.'s album sales, but let's go overall with the album sales. Number 1 debut, A Tease, Golden Hour Part 5. Number 1 spot, 204,000 sold first week. Number 2, Olivia Rodrigo, You Seem Sad for a Girl So in Love, 128,000. Number 3, Ella Langley, Dandelion, 81,000. Number 4, Drake, Iceman, 80,000. Number 5, Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem, 76,000. Number 6, Noah Khan, The Great Divide, 62,000. Number 7, Michael Jackson, Thriller, 47,000. Number 8, Michael Jackson, Number 1's 42,000. Number 9, Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time, 38,000. Number 10, Olivia Dean, The Art of Lovin', 34,000. Don Toliver, number 12, with Octane with 31,000. NBA Youngboy, MIL2, debuted at number 13 with 31,000. Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, got back on the charts at number 16 with 28,000. SZA, SOS, number 17 with 27,000. Going down the list, Drake, Take Care, number 29 with 21,000. And then T.I., Kill the King, debuted at number 30 with 21,000. Drake, Habibti, number 35 with 19,000. Let's see more. Drake Chris Brown at number 49 with 17,000, and then Drake Views number 50 with 17,000. Shout out to Chris Brown, man, for reposting my post on him about being the highest RIAA certified male R&B and pop artist in the United States. So he reposted that, which skyrocketed my page, and then on top of that, 50 reposted it. So pretty cool that they both reposted it back to back. Billboard Hot 100. Let's see where we're at with that. Choosing Texas, Ella Langley back at the number 1 spot. Number 2, I Knew It, I Knew You, Taylor Swift. Number 3, Be Her, Ella Langley. Number 4, Stupid Song, Olivia Rodrigo. Number 5, Drop Dead, Olivia Rodrigo. Number 6, Genesis, STFU, Drake. Number 7, Hate That I Made You Love Me, Ariana Grande. Number 8, Man I Need, Olivia Dean. Number 9, I Can't Love You Anymore, Ella Langley and Morgan Wallen. Number 10, Dracula, Tame Impala and Jenny. Interesting, man. Too much Ella Langley and all this fucking Olivia Rodrigo and all this shit. Shebang, Drake, number 20. Going down the list. Young Miami, spin that shit. That record's climbing up. Cinderella, Mac Miller, number 26. A lot of Olivia Rodrigo records because of the album that came out. Chicago, Michael Jackson, number 36. E85, Don Toliver, number 37. Ran to Atlanta, Drake, number 39. Pop That Thing, The Baby, number 42. Michael Jackson, Human Nature, number 45. Whisper My Name, Drake, number 48. Too Hard for the Radio, Drake, number 51. National Treasures, Drake, number 55. Interesting. Plot Twist, Drake, number 76. Bees on the Table, Drake, number 78. So most of the Iceman album is still on the charts. What Did I Miss, Drake, number 83. Burning Bridges, Drake, number 87. I'm Spent, Drake, number 88. Dust, Drake, number 90. Make Them Pay, Drake, number 91. Yeah, so Drake, most of the Drake Iceman album, the rest of the albums have pretty much fallen off, but interesting. That's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, I apologize, guys. At least with the album review, I kind of made it up to you guys. I will be ranking Michael Jackson's albums. I promise. I've just been mad busy. I'm going to try to do it next episode. I'm going to pray I do it next episode. So, yeah, stream us, Spotify, Deezer, podcast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.